Hello friends, welcome to my channel Mukesh English. This is Mukesh Soni. Friends, in this video I'll discuss a very important, very significant poem, My Last Duchess, written by the famous English poet, playwright, that is Robert Browning, who is famous for his style that's called dramatic monologue. So in this poem, how will I discuss? I'll discuss this poem line by line. I'll read the lines, then I'll give the brief explanation of each line. So before we discuss the poem in detail, let's have a glance at the introduction of this poem. My Last Duchess is a poem by Robert Browning. It is written as a dramatic monologue in 1842, where a duke, a prince, a duke, talks about a painting of his late wife. He talks about a painting of his late wife. As he speaks to a visitor, he reveals that he was not happy with his wife's friendly and cheerful nature. He felt she didn't respect his name and status enough. So, in the end, he hints that he gave orders to stop her smiling, which suggests that he had killed her. The poem also shows the Duke's proud, jealous, and controlling nature, which shows the themes like power, pride, and the way women were treated. So this is a brief introduction of the poem My Last Duchess. Now we'll have the discussion of this poem line by line. So let's begin it. So before we see here who is the speaker is here the Duke of Ferrara, which is a fictional Renaissance nobleman, a prince. There's a listener, listener, envoy. Envoy means to say a kind of a representative from a count, from a country whose daughter Duke wants to marry. So who is a listener? Listener is a messenger who has come from other country, from other count, and he has brought a proposal about his daughter to whom Duke would like to marry. So here the speaker, Duke of Ferrara, he's going to show his late wife's portrait. So here, what's the style of this poem? Dramatic monologue means the speaker only speaks, the listener does not speak here. Dramatic mono means one, log means dialogue, where only one person speaks. So that's meaning here, dramatic monologue. Let's begin. That's my last duchess, painted on the wall, looking as if she were alive. So what does the poet say here? The poet want to say here, the Duke begins by showing a painting of his former wife, late wife, that's called Last Duchess, to a visitor. He points out how realistic the painting looks as if she were alive. So he's showing his late wife, his last duchess painting to a visitor, to a messenger, and he himself is appreciating that how beautiful she looks. It seems that she's still alive. So the phrase last duchess shows here that she is no longer alive, and the possessive pronoun might suggest here that a kind of ownership he's showing. He's not showing an affection, he's showing a kind of an ownership here. That's about in the line number 1 and 2. Further, the poet says here, I call that piece a wonder. Now Fra Pandolf's hands worked busily a day, and there she stands. So the Duke praises the painting as a masterpiece. He says that it's a great piece of art. He says that Fra Pandolf, which is a respected painter, made this portrait in just 1 day, and in 1 day the painting has turned out wonderfully. So what is he's telling? He's showing, he's praising, the Duke is praising the painting as a masterpiece, as a great piece of art. And he says that who has painted this painting of his last duchess? Fra Pandolf, the famous painter, possibly could be a monk also. And the painting was painted, the portrait was done all in 1 day. So he seems proud of the artistic work, but not emotionally connected to the woman in it. He's just connected to this piece of art, but he's not connected emotionally to that woman whose painting has been portrayed in this particular, whose who has been portrayed in the particular painting, right? Now Further, the Duke says, "Will it please you sit and look at her?" I said, "Fra Pandolf, by design, for never read strangers like you that pictured countenance, the depth and passion of its earnest glance, but to myself they turned." So the Duke invites the guest to sit and look closely at the portrait. The Duke says to the messenger, to the representative, he says, "Please be seated here. Now just observe this painting, this portrait very closely." He says that he intentionally mentioned the painter's name by design because visitors always curious about the expression on the Duchess' face, especially the deep emotion in her glance. And that time I say that that is a painter. Fra Pandolf has done it. That's the reason that I have mentioned the painter's name intentionally, because the visitors, they always ask about the expression, the emotions, the beauty which has been shown on the Duchess' face, the glance it shows here. So I always give the credit to the painter, the Duke says. People wonder what made her look like that, so intense, so alive. So he's glorifying the picture, he's glorifying the portrait. At the same time, he's also giving a credit to the painter, Fra Pandolf, who has designed this picture. Further, the Duke says, "Since none puts by the curtain I had drawn for you, but I, and seemed as they would ask me if they durst, how such a glance came there, so not the first are you to turn and ask thus." The Duke controls who sees the painting. No one else is allowed to draw back the curtain. That means it is only the Duke who has the right to draw the curtain and to show the to draw the curtain and to show the portrait. This shows us a lot of things about Duke. Even after his last Duchess' death, he wants complete control over how people see her. It's all left to him how the portrait has to be exhibited to the people. So he has a control, he has a complete control over the portrait. Even even his Duchess is no more, right? His wife is no more. Visitors often want to ask what made her look that way, but they are afraid to ask this question directly. So now he assumes this messenger, the guest, the envoy, the guest also wants to ask the same question, that why the Duchess looks so beautiful, why her look is so elegant, so charming, right? But he has the control over this curtain. He only has the right to draw the curtain. The others do not have. Duke further says, "Sir, it was not her husband's presence only called that spot of joy into the Duchess' cheek." The Duke says, he says the blush on her cheek was not just because of him. He says that the spot of joy, he's saying to he's observing the portrait and he's explaining the portrait, and he's telling to this representative, the messenger, "Look at the blush on my Duchess' face, on my cheek. It is not just because of him. It's not just because of him," means to say he himself. This line shows his jealousy, and he could not tolerate that she could smile or blush for anyone else also. He's saying very directly that the blush you can see on my late wife's cheek here is not because of me. So that shows that he's very jealous, right? He suspects her, right? But he could not tolerate the way she's shown as smiling or blush. He says, "Perhaps Fra Pandolf chanced to say, her mentally laps over my lady's wrist too much, or paint must never hope to reproduce the faint half blush, half flush that dies along her throat." The Duke imagines that maybe the painter gave her a simple compliment, like nothing now, her shawl falls, or how he cannot capture the gentle blush on a neck right? He would have given a simple compliment, but this lady has taken the compliment so seriously, and she has shown a great blush on her cheek. So even such minor compliments may have caused her to blush, he says. So this kind of directions, the instructions, uh, her instruction the painter would have given, that annoys the Duke. He saw these blushes as a proof of unfaithfulness or foolishness. He's suspecting his late wife. He says that the painter would have given just a clue that smile please. So sometimes how the cameraman says smile please, and this lady has shown the extent of the smile, and so he saw these blushes as a proof of unfaithfulness or foolishness. Duke says such stuff was courtesy, she thought, and cause enough for calling up that spot of joy. The Duke mocks her by saying that she thought such casual politeness was a reason to blush. He thinks she was too easily pleased, didn't reserve her smile just for him. He says that she would have not smiled in that great manner. She would have reserved some smile for her husband, right? And she has taken such kind of remark in a great manner, and such casual politeness was a reason to blush. So this is where this Duke's real problem with a behavior comes very clear. What's the problem? He expected total loyalty and admiration, not just love. So this Duke used to expect from his Duchess, from his late wife, only loyalty, only admiration, not the love. Apart from love, he also used to expect only the loyalty and admiration. Duke says she had a heart, how shall I say, too soon made glad, too easily impressed, right? The Duke tries to be polite, but he ends up insulting her, right? He says she was too simple hearted. She got happy or impressed very fast, very quickly with everyone and with everything. So he saw this kind of behavior of his wife as a flaw. And he used to suspect such kind of behavior, where he used to think that his late wife used to get impressed, or sorry, he used to show impression. She used to get happy very soon, very quickly with everyone, with everything, right? So he used to think this something like as a flaw. Why? He asked a question, how shall I say? Too soon made glad, too easily impressed, right? She had such kind of heart. Now, further, he says she liked whatever she looked on, and her looks went everywhere. Sir, it was all one. My favor at her breast, the dropping of the daylight in the west. The Duchess liked everything. She found beauty in all the things. For her, the Duke's gift, possibly a necklace, was as exciting as the sunset. So this offended the Duke. He felt his love should have meant more to her than the ordinary things. So he says here, my late wife, my last Duchess, she liked the gift which I have given to her, the necklace, and she thought and she assumed the necklace was more exciting or as exciting as the sunset, but she has not expressed her love towards me. So this has offended the Duke. So he felt his love should have meant more than the gifts which I have given to her. Duke says, the bough of cherries some officious fool broke in the orchard for her, the white mule she rode with round the terrace, all and each would draw from her alike the approving speech or blush at least. She reacted with the same joy to simple gifts, for example, cherries from a servant, to noble experiences. So he says that I also used to give her necklace. She also used to show the same expression, and when any outsider is going to give her some cherries, any servant is going to offer her some cherries, she also used to give the same kind of expression. So what is the difference? He says that I was not getting some extraordinary expression of the love from her, and she was weighing everyone in the same weight. She never used to make a difference between as a husband or as a servant. So even she says here, even riding a white mule also made her happy. So it's a great comparison here. He says here, even if she rides on a white mule, that also makes her happy. So for the Duke, everything pleased her too much. He wanted her to be selective, especially about him. That's his expectation. He says that there should be a difference between her husband, between the servant. Everything makes her happy. That means what? She's not selective. So he's complaining in such manner. Duke says, she thanked man. Good, but thanked somehow, I know not how, as if she ranked my gift of a 900 years old name with anybody's gift, right? The Duke is deeply hurt because she did not treat his famous family name, something passed down for centuries, as more special than other people's gifts. Got it now? She did not treat his famous family name as special than the other people's gifts. And the family name was for a centuries together. So he felt his status and name were being disrespected. And she used to appreciate others' gifts in the same manner. She used to appreciate his family name also. So for him, this is not just emotional, it's a matter of pride and proud. Got it now? So again, she is not able to make a difference between or between common and something special. Now, quite long lines, and Duke says, who would stoop to blame this sort of trifling? Even had you skill in speech, which I have not, to make your will quite clear to such an one, and say just this or that in your disgust me, here you miss, or there exceed the mark. And if she let herself be lessoned so, nor plainly set her wits to yours, forsooth, and made excuse, even then would be some stooping, and I choose never to stoop. Very important, these lines. The Duke says he refused to confront her about his this behavior. He didn't want to stoop. Stoop means lower, right? He didn't want to come down to her level, even if he had the ability to speak it clearly, but he says he will not. Even if she agreed to change, that still would have been beneath him. This reveals his arrogance and unwillingness to compromise. He says that even if she says that yes, I have done a mistake, I'll change myself. He says no, I will not stoop. Jukega nahi sala. Right? Got it now. Okay. He says so that's a manly, we can say egoistic nature here. His arrogance here, but he will not compromise. He will not stoop. If he changes her behavior, also he will not stoop. If she changes her behavior, also he will not change. He will not bring down himself to her level. Right? Still would have been beneath him. Right? He will not. If she agreed to change, also. He says, oh, sir, she smiled, no doubt, whenever I passed her. But who passed without much the same smile? This crew, I gave commands. Then all smiles stopped together. This line is very important. Keep in the mind for examination. Then all smiles stopped together. The Duke admits she did not smile at him, but she smiled at everyone else in the same manner. He could not tolerate this. It made him feel ordinary, not special. So he gave commands. Gave commands means he gave an order to kill her. What kind of commands? He most likely ordered her for the death. The line, then all smiles stop together, is a remarkable because here he talks about it very calmly without regret. See, he gave commands, he gave order to kill her, but but very calmly, without any regret, he has given such commands. So question appears, all smiles stop together here refers to the order to kill his wife, his last duchess. Then Duke says, there she stands, as if alive. Will it please you rise? We'll meet the company below. Then the Duke ends the story, returns to the portrait, right? So far, he started with the portrait, and then he start telling the story about his late wife, and again he comes back to the portrait, and he says, "Look at this portrait. She stands as if alive." So he again emphasizing the lifelike painting, and also hinting at how he has immortalized and controlled her forever. In what way he has immortalized? He has captured, he has preserved her beauty in the form of the portrait. He has controlled her in the form of the portrait by putting the curtain, and he only has the right to draw the curtain, others cannot. He politely asks the guest to rise and go meet the other people as if nothing serious has just been said. He says, okay, thank you so much. You can meet other people. So he's saying in that manner that he has told not a very great story. He has told in a very simple, very casual manner. He has spoken about his last touches. Okay. Finally, the Duke says, I repeat, the Count, your master's known munificence is ample warrant that no just pretense of mine for dowry will be disallowed. The Duke now comes to the business talk, to the main topic for this envoy or this messenger has come here, and he says he wants to marry the Count's daughter, and he expects a good dowry, good money. So he hints that because the count is generous, count means the king, the count is generous, any fair amount the duke asks will be accepted. So whatever the demand I say, your count, your king will accept it. And he says, I am ready to marry your king's, your count's daughter. You just forward this message and I expect some sort of dowry. And whatever I ask, definitely the count will accept all my demands, right? So he's thinking for the next marriage. The duke says, though his fair daughter's self, as I avowed at starting, is my object. He claims he is mostly interested in the count's daughter, not just the money. But after hearing how he treated his last duchess, this line feels insincere and ominous, because he's thinking again as an object, right? He's saying that, okay, I'm interested in your count's daughter, not the money, right? Finally he says, no, no, now we'll go together down, sir. Notice Neptune, though taming a seahorse thought a rarity, which claws of Innsbruck cast in bronze for me. As the leaf, who Duke and this represent this messenger as the leaf, the Duke points to another piece of art. There's one more portrait. He says, look at this piece of art. The statue of Neptune. Neptune means the Roman god of the sea. Look at the statue of Neptune, who is taming, who is controlling the wild seahorse. He says, this sculpture is a rare, expensive piece which is made by Claus of Innsbruck. So this final image is very symbolic. How? How a Neptune is taming controlling the wild horse. Similarly, the Duke wanted to tame his Duchess, and he would like to control her completely. So this image is a symbolic image which shows this Duke's obsession with power, ownership, and male dominance. Right? So this is how we have seen here this poem, The My Last Touches, consists how many lines? 60 lines. Now let's have a re-glance in a very summarizing way, let's look at the key points of this particular poem to connect one by one. Number one, the Duke shows a portrait of his former wife, the last Duchess, to a visitor, envoy, visitor, a messenger. He praises the painting's realism. The painting was done by a painter, Fra Pandolf. He emphasizes that he controls whoever sees it. He only has the right to draw the curtain. The Duke explains the Duchess' expression, saying that it often made people curious. Her blush and her warm smile were not just for him, it was for everybody. He complains that she was too easily pleased, smiling at everyone and everything equally, like sunset, cherries, compliments, riding a mule. He reveals his jealousy and pride, feeling insulted that she didn't value his 900 years old name more than small favors from others. The Duke says he chose not to stoop by correcting or arguing with her because he thought it was beneath him. Instead of resolving all the issues, he says, I gave commands, then all smiles stopped together, which shows he ordered her death. He calmly returns to the topic of the painting, again noting how she looks as if alive, which shows no guilt, no remorse. He shifts to a marriage negotiation, talking about the dowry he expects from the count whose daughter he now wants to marry. As they go downstairs, the Duke shows off a statue of Neptune taming a seahorse, which shows his desire to dominate and control others, especially women. To sum up, we can say Robert Browning's poem My Last Duchess is a dramatic monologue that reveals the Duke's pride, jealousy, and need for control. He could not accept his Duchess' friendly and joyful nature, so he had her silenced, likely killed. The poem shows how power and pride can destroy love and how women were treated like possessions in a male dominated society. So, friends, this is how I have tried to give you brief or explanation of brief summary or the explanation of the poem My Last Touches, which is in the syllabus of second semester BCA General English, Bangalore City University SCP syllabus. So, for more videos, just you need to subscribe my channel so that you'll be getting all the other lesson summaries videos, and all the other lesson summaries videos links are in the description box. Very shortly, you'll also be getting the model question paper solution also. So for this, please do subscribe the channel, like the video, comment the video. Any questions you have, you can reach me at mukeshenglish@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay in tune with Mukesh English.